Let's talk about how good smoke and good barbecue go hand in hand. Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to Outdoors with Geoff. Before we light the coals for today's cook, take a minute and hit the subscribe button and the bell icon so you can be notified of any new content that comes to the channel. What's up barbecue crew? Welcome back to Outdoors with Geoff. I've been reading through some comments and looking online on Facebook and a couple other areas and seeing some questions about gravity smokers and the 980 and the difference with clean smoke and dirty smoke on this unit. So having been on a gravity fed unit for over a year and a half now, and coming from an offset smoker myself and understanding the importance and diligence of setting and burning a clean fire, because if not, you're going to get some food that's going to have a acrid, burnt taste to it. I want to sit down and cover a few points with you guys that I've learned over time, especially in the process of how these type smokers work when it comes to dealing with your wood chunks and trying to impart some wood flavor while you use charcoal in this gravity fed system. Let's talk about the difference between clean smoke and dirty smoke. Clean smoke is that light blue smoke that you see that's almost invisible, but it's got just a blue tint to it or a very light white tint. That's where you have some clean smoke. Dirty smoke is that heavy white or gray smoke that you get when you have an initial burn off or whatever the case from what you're doing, be it from a light up of charcoal to just getting your wood lit and your wood not reaching the point of combustion. This is not a scientific review or anything of that nature. This is just my process on how I do this. There are other videos on YouTube that explain this in much more technical terms, but I can just tell you from the process of how I normally go about and how I start my fire. Let's talk about smoke that you get from charcoal. Now, with that, you're going to see with a lot of charcoals, you're gonna get a good heavy white smoke that starts when you first light up the Gravity 980. Don't be alarmed by that, that's normal. And it's a heavy white smoke. It almost looks the equivalent of like a diesel runaway engine. So that smoke is normal. And depending upon the charcoal that you use, you're going to get more, some you may get less. I'll give you a good example in two of the charcoals that I use, and this is not a sponsored video. This is just what I use in my 980. So as far as lump goes, I use B&B. Lump does not produce as much heavy smoke because of the fact that it's already burned down. You're pretty much dealing with carbon when you're dealing with with your lump charcoal. When it comes to your briquettes, which are formed, you'll start to see some of that white smoke because you're dealing with byproducts in there, and that'll produce ash. I use Royal Oak as a weekly charcoal. So if I'm doing a quick cook during the week, I'll jump on it and use the Royal Oak because it's convenient and it's a little bit easier to find. I normally use B&B oak briquettes for my longer cooks or for my cooks for my videos. But if I'm just doing, a quick steak or something during the week or whatever the case may be, I don't mind using Royal Oak, and it has a pretty good burn off for me. It does produce a lot of heavy white smoke in the beginning, but from the standard of the way it burns, it does an okay burn for me, and it's one of those charcoals that I don't mind keeping around for that reason. When it comes to ash pan smoking, in my opinion, things go a little bit different. And I've seen this before with another gravity fed unit that I use. I particularly don't use wood chunks in the ash pan if I'm running lump. If I'm doing briquettes, yes, but the lump doesn't produce enough ash to keep that high enough temperature on the wood chunks to get them smoldering and to really start to get some good clean smoke. You may get some smoke off of it, but it may be a little bit dirty. What I find when I use lump is I'll typically go ahead and just put the wood chunks in the chute and go from there. Now, if I really want to try and impart some heavy flavor and I'm using lump, I may take a torch and just go ahead and char the wood chunks a little bit just to get them started and see if I can get some smoke that way. But lump, if you really look at your ash pan after you do a full cook of lump, you really don't have a lot of ash in there. You'll see a dramatic difference in the amount of ash that you have versus what you get coming off of briquettes. I tend to get better results by putting wood chunks in the chute, and I also get good results when I put wood chunks in the ash pan when I'm using briquettes, because they produce enough ash and you're hitting that internal temperature that's going to get it to where you're going to have some combustion with those ashes falling down over top of that wood. And we're going to go out to the smoker and get a few examples going, and I'll show you a few examples of some dirty smoke and what clean smoke looks like, and what clean smoke looks like coming from the ash pan as well. So let's get out to the grill. Okay, so we're at the smoker now, and I've loaded up with Royal Oak charcoal and B&B post oak wood chunks, and I just layered it like I talked about earlier: charcoal wood, charcoal wood, charcoal wood. So we're going to go ahead and get this lit up and give you a chance to see what this looks like. Okay, so we've been lit for about 4 minutes here, and you can see the smoke that we're getting off of this charcoal starting to light up. So we're gonna go ahead and get this thing started. Okay, so this is the dirty smoke that I'm talking about. When you first light up and you're getting your charcoal going, this is what you're going to see, and it's going to be really smoky. It'll be a whitish gray smoke, and you definitely don't want any of this touching your food. Okay, now you can see that dirty smoke that we're still getting from the charcoal. Even though we've hit our temperature of 300 degrees, you're still going to see that for a little bit until you get a good burn off of that charcoal starting up. All right, it's been about 20 minutes, and this is that good clean smoke we were talking about. This is actually coming from the wood that we put inside the chute, but if you notice the blue tint on it, that's some good stuff right there. And you can even smell that post oak. So this is where we want to be at. We want to go ahead and open up this ash chamber here, and if you look down, the temperature inside the ash pan is sitting right at about 490, a little over 500 degrees. And up top, we're sitting at about 8 and some change where the fire is. So now, if we put in some wood chunks, we have optimal conditions to get some good smoke. So let's go ahead and get these chunks in. And let me pick you up, take you over here, so you can see we've actually got some good ash down in there too. That'll help get these started. Alright, we got some nice color, nice charring on there. And we're sitting at 870 degrees on that wood. And it looks like around 697 on the other piece. But let me take you in for a closer look. You can see that's where we're getting that smoke to emanate from now. All right, so here's that thin blue smoke that's coming from the chunks that we put in the ash pan. We put them in there and they came up to temp, and you can see this is the result here. And you get that smell of that post oak that's not real pungent, doesn't burn your nose or anything. That's how you know you've hit what you wanted to achieve. All right guys, well that about covers it. Let me finish up by saying a few things. So this video isn't sponsored by Royal Oak or B&B. That's just what I use. That's what, you know, is convenient for me. You know, and like I said, you know, Royal Oak is good for me for quick cooks during the week, because I know I normally use B&B when it comes to my cook videos. When it comes to the process, this is what I found works for me. I've been dealing with gravity smokers now, or gravity fed smokers, for a year and a half now, and this is the process that works for me. This is just what, you know, some tips that I picked up along the way, because I understand how important fire management is from coming from an offset. So anyway, thanks for watching, and leave a comment below. All right guys, thanks for watching this episode of Outdoors with Geoff. Be sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon for notifications when more content comes out, and also check out these videos here on the channel as well.